Some new retirement rules for 2025 that you need to be aware of. If you remember back in 2022, Congress passed a law called the Secure Act 2.0 Act to help Americans save for retirement. While most of those measures have already been implemented, there were some new changes regarding 401ks that are coming up in 2025, Mike, and that's what we want to talk about today. Let's run these down. We'll go with three. The first one is pretty easy. Quicker eligibility for part-time workers. That's a good thing. Second is automatic enrollment for new 401k plans, and the big one here that I think we should focus on today
Russell, people.
is higher catch-up contributions for older workers. I think this is a good thing.
I don't like that older worker, but yes. Because of course 60 is the new 40, I think is what
it's a new 30, man. That's a new 30. Let's go with 30.
Those of us that are 33 to 35, we can contribute extra money, so we can get an extra 10,000 in, which is wonderful. So it gives us a little extra there, which is wonderful. But a couple of other things that are really incredible. The company match. If you're not already talking to your company, the company match can now go into a Roth if it makes sense for you.
Really?
Yeah, that was an earlier part of 2.0. Another thing that I really love, and that people don't take advantage of this the way I think they should. We know we can put roughly somewhere 24,000 to roughly 30,000, depending on catch-up provisions and all that, into our IRAs or to our 401ks. But what people don't think about is that most plans allow you to make excess contributions if you wanted to, right? So you could put more money into it, up to in the 60,000 range. And then when you actually take the money out, you could take that money and roll it into a Roth, right? Which could be fantastic. But there's all sorts of options out there on understanding how to take advantage of your current 401k. And when we use the terminology 401k, we're really talking about employer sponsored plans, right? We use the 401k lingo to address 401ks, 403bs, 457, the TSP, the whole nine yards. So it's not just the stuff we're talking about is only applicable to 401s. It's applicable to basically all employer-sponsored plans. And if you want more information on how these employer-sponsored plans may work for you, that little link below, click on it. Click on it, set up a calendar appointment, sit down with Ryan, myself, and our team, and we'll walk you through the options you have, how you might be able to take advantage of some of them. And Michael, we talked about this a little bit earlier today. Some of the options that you might have that are outside the 401k, that might be more tax efficient for you. So certainly you want to get your match, right? If we have a match, certainly want to get the match. It's a no-brainer to not get the free money. But if you're contemplating the tax efficiency of your portfolios down the road, one of the things that we see today, especially for people that have been saving 30, 40, 50 years, I was just talking to somebody on the phone the other day. This guy is 78 years old, and he's just now getting around to the realization that he's getting crushed in RMDs. And RMDs are that little rule that if you looked at the small print, when I said click below, it's in a big box that says click below. And when you go schedule an appointment, it's big information that it has to schedule an appointment. When you signed up for your retirement account through work, there was a little microscopic, it was a very, very little tiny box that said, when you retire and want to start, yeah, there you go.
There it is. I see it.
When you retire, Uncle Sam wants a third of your revenue. Every time you take a dollar out, they want 20, 30, 40 cents on every dollar you take out. So as he was starting to come to terms with the fact that, one, at 78 years old, he didn't need the money. And two, he was being forced to take it out even though he didn't need to spend it. And what was happening is he was taking it out, paying taxes at the highest rate possible, right? Because if he doesn't need it, that means whatever bracket you wind up in is the worst tax bracket for you.
Yep.
Putting it into account that was then generating additional tax revenue for his silent partner. And as it was going through that, and honestly, he saw it on a YouTube, and I'm not sure how he found it. He must have Googled something about, my advisor isn't giving me tax advice. It says on my investment statement, don't talk to me about taxes. My CPA is a historian and doesn't really give me forward tax looking advice. Who should I call? And first thing, of course, was Ghostbusters, but the next thing that came up was us, right? And so he started watching some of our some of these videos that we do, these YouTube videos, and he gave us a call. And unfortunately, at 78 years old, it's much harder at this point to actually save him tax dollars
Mhm.
because the runway is less, right? So for him, really what we could do, it turns out we could save him some money, but we were going to save his kids and grandkids a
Mm.
fortune, right?
Which is probably more important to him
At this
at
point,
that age.
I mean, it just made better sense that he knew he was going to get hurt, but why hurt his kids and grandkids as well? Let's do something to protect them now, which is what a firm that focuses on tax planning does for you. It's not just
Mm.
about how do we take advantage of the new IRA rules and 401k rules. What are the new contribution limits? It's much more than that. So with the Secure Act 1.0 and finally clarified, 5 years later, basically, we're forced to take out money from our inherited IRAs. When we inherit money from mom and dad, or when your children inherit money from you, they're forced to take money out. And this is for the 403B, this is the
Mhm.
TSB, all of them. They're forced to take the money out within 10 years. As a matter of fact, for many of you watching this, you might still have money at an old 401k where you no longer work. Most of those 401ks required non-spousal beneficiaries take the money out in 5 years. You think about that for just a minute. If you have $500,000 into it and your kid has to take it out, they're adding an extra $100,000 a year to their income, and our children inherit money from us typically when they're 50 to 65 years old,
At their
which
peak.
happens to be their peak earning years. So instead of being in the 22 to 24% tax bracket, all of a sudden the money that they're inheriting from their parents, I mean, talk about a double whammy, right?
That's a different game right there.
What insult to injury. Not only did I lose my mom and dad, or my mom or my
Wow.
dad, now I'm having to give up 32% to the Fed. And if you're in one of those states that charge you tax in the state, maybe another, 5 to 10% in state taxes. So you're losing 30, 40% to taxes, all because somebody didn't click that little button. Do you see how I did that? Somebody
I
didn't
love it.
click that little button at the bottom of the screen here. Click on and set up a time to sit down and talk with us. So tax planning and understanding how your 401k works today, and tax planning and how your 401k is going to work in the future, that all needs to be part of the same conversation. You can't be working with somebody that says to you, here's how to allocate your 401k for tax, for a efficient frontier, how to maximize the contributions. That's all well and good, but heck, if your advisor or your CPA isn't telling you about the tax implications of when the money comes out, that's a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, think about losing 30 to 40 cents on every dollar. That's crazy. If you know that today, would you still make the same choices? I mean, when you were 18 years old, if you knew what Roth IRAs would do for you and how tax efficient investing would do for you, I mean, it's interesting. As a tax planner, as a financial planner that actually does tax planning, I have a master's degree in tax, which basically means I went to law school, decided that going to law school wasn't enough, and went back and got an LLM in tax, which means I love it's almost like a sickness, a disease. I love tax planning. I know it sounds horrible. And my team around me, on one hand, they love it, but on the other hand, because I'm so adamant about every decision we make has to have a tax
Tax.
conversation as well, because you can't make an informed decision if you're not accounting for taxes. So my team, as I hire on these new financial planners to come aboard and new people, they don't understand why we sell insurance. And I know life insurance, oh God, that's life insurance agents for do you know what rich people do? And believe it or not, as you're watching this, if you have $500,000, IRS thinks you're rich. If you have $1 million, you're definitely rich as far as they're concerned. So while you might think the Bill Gates and the Phil Knights and the Elon Musk are rich people, everybody else around you thinks you're rich. So if you have 500 or $1 million or more, you're rich as far as taxes go. And rich people use life insurance, and rich people use life insurance because you can put money into a life insurance policy today. It grows at 5-6% rates of return on average. That's usually what we see. Obviously, the illustration that you get will show you the exact numbers, and you'd want to see that before you bought any life insurance. But here's the deal. As that grows over the years, if you do it correctly, instead of trying to get a huge death benefit, you try to build that cash value up, you can take all that money out tax-free, about 90-95% of it in most cases. So think about that. Let's say you earn 5% over the years, and you're in the 30 to 40% tax bracket between federal and state. Heck, that's the equivalent of somewhere between a 7.5% and 9% rate of return that you're getting because you're being tax efficient, because you didn't pay tax on it as it grew. And when you took it out, you didn't have to pay tax on it when you take it out. So think about that. You could put, obviously have to get your match in your 401k. Don't want to give that up. But instead of putting an extra $10,000 that you're going to pay tax later, how about paying tax today, putting $10,000 into a life insurance policy, and I'm making this number up 100% for illustration, but you're 40 years old, you're doing it, you put an extra $10,000 in because you were going to put 20,000 or 24,000 into your 401k anyways, put an extra 10,000 into this, 20 years later when you retire, 25 years later when you retire, and again, I'm just making the numbers up, all of a sudden that 100,000 a year that you put in is worth, I don't know, $2 million. And it's all tax-free. And it grew it grew 4, 5, 6%. And now 90% of it you can take out tax-free. You do have to leave some there, and there's rules involved. But if you're working with a true financial planner who truly understands the tax planning, aren't we supposed to balance what you need today and the tax planning today with the tax planning for tomorrow and the tax planning for whatever's legacy going to live for your kids? And I recognize most of you watching, you're not thinking to yourself, I saved all this money just to give it to my kids. I get that. None of us did that. But most of the people watching, there's going to be something left over, and you can choose, is that going to be tax efficient for them? Is it going to be tax efficient for you? Or you can choose just to go ahead and give Uncle Sam a third of your money. Well, we know with the new elections that just happened, you have an administration coming in that says, we think we can wipe out 20% of the federal spending because it's wasted money. Well, if they think 20% is wasted money, even if you don't agree with the administration, you have to understand that there is wasted money, and you're giving it to those clowns, left or right, I don't care. Neither one of them are good stewards with your money. Stop giving it to them. Figure out a way to make this tax-free for you today, tax-free for you tomorrow, and tax-free for your kids or grandkids when they inherit the money. Starts by clicking on that little button below. Sit down with Ryan, myself, and our team, and let us show you how to take advantage of the Secure Act 2.0. Absolutely want to do that. But you also absolutely want to do is make sure you're doing this from a tax perspective. Absolutely click on the button below.
Again, that is the link below. Click on that, and that'll get you with Mike and the team at Prostatis. And I'm gonna throw something at you here, Mike. Your book, not physically, but here, just to surmise here what you've said here, if you guys can look at that, how can a person provide investment advice without actually understanding the tax implications on that advice? And that
whoever wrote that was really smart. Whoever wrote that was brilliant. Look at that.
Is that it right there?
There you go.
There's his name right there. Hey, can we throw the book in for those that
that reach out to you? We'll send you if you want us to send you an actual hard copy, let me know, and we'll send you a hard copy. We'll actually sign it over and give you my signature. That and $5 will get you a cup of coffee, not at Starbucks, mind you, but it'll get you a cup of coffee. But we'll send you a digital copy without even giving me your address and stuff. We'll send you a copy if you want one.
I love it. All right, well, go ahead and do that. Click the link below and get your book, and make sure that you got all squared away with your taxes and all the new 401k rules that are coming up in 2025. Mike, thanks again. Be sure to like and subscribe, share this with your friends, this YouTube episode. Mike, as always, though, you get us out of here.
This is Mike Kinnett. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. We'll see you, the Savvy Investor, next time.